out, guys, here at the Car Theory Podcast. First episode of this channel, podcasting. We got Eric Adam, QuickECleans Mobile Detailing. And we got our boy Trent and James over there. What up, Trent? How you been today, bro?
Cold, bro.
Cold, man. It's cold. It feels like -3. I see it on the weather app, you know what I'm saying?
It's cold. It's cold.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, Eric, QuickECleans, what is QuickECleans, bro?
QuickECleans, well, we're a mobile auto detailing business here in Lincoln, Nebraska. We've been doing this for about 4 years now here in Lincoln. Started off mobile, and we've slowly been getting into different shops all around town. So
you're saying you started off mobile, like, what do you mean by mobile? Yeah. Like, how'd you start off? What kind of car did you have? Did you have like a truck, a little van? Or
no, actually. Oh. So the whole idea started off of me needing to detail my little Honda Accord.
Okay.
I had to detail my little Honda Accord. I started getting quotes for it, and it was well over $200. I was like, I ain't gonna do that. And so I was like, I'm not gonna spend $200 and get my car detailed. Went to Menards, got a $80 vacuum, about $20 worth of supplies, and detailed my own car. The neighbor saw it, and I detailed her car for $40.
Oh my god!
And then I was halfway done paying my equipment, so I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna detail another car and pay all my stuff off. And that's how it just started.
Yeah, and you just started calling people, or going around the neighborhood, or
yeah. I watched a lot of YouTube videos. That's how we got into it, and a lot of trial and error with friends and family's cars. A lot of my family's cars got messed up before they got cleaned up good. But that's just kind of how it goes with business, you know. You got to talk to your friends, family, and once you go and gain their trust and gain the experience, you can move up and start to do what you like at a professional level.
Yeah. Like, I feel like when because I try to clean my own car, you know, obviously. Man, I know how it is to clean a car. It takes all day. That's what I'm saying.
It really does. And I kind of just, I like doing, being with cars. I love being in the car industry. I don't have a lot of fancy cars myself, but, you know, with auto detailing, I've been able to get places where I normally wouldn't be able to as just a regular guy.
Like you said, you don't have any fancy cars, but
yeah,
you know how many fancy cars you've got cleaned already, you know what I'm saying?
We're doing cars, we're doing planes, boats,
everything. All
traveling. The furthest I've been on the road was about 9 days. We did a 9-day detailing tour is what we call them. We hit the road, pick up the trailer, and just head. We head south or head west, and yeah, it's we call it. We've been on. They're not tours, but for me, they're what I call detail tours. Detours is what I call them.
That's kind of nice, detour.
Yeah. So on our Instagram, you see some of the feedback that we got from that.
What's your Instagram?
QuickECleans on all social media. TikTok, Instagram. TikTok's gonna get banned though, so
I know, man.
we're gonna have to find something else.
Let's buy it up.
Yeah, but you know, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook. A lot of people have me on Snapchat, but I try to promote with any kind of social media that I have. It's all QuickECleans, but yeah.
So you'd say probably from like your first starting point till now, you know, your setups, even just and products and tools have been drastically probably changed over the years.
It really has. I mean, when you first start your business, or like when you start getting into cars, you know, you might buy the cheapest parts or the cheapest products. But then you get to a point where it's like, hey, do you really want the cheapest parts running the quarter mile? No. You got to have some money, spend some money to get some performance. And so that's what, like for me, yeah, you know, we started with basic spray bottles and basic degreaser and Armor All. But it comes to a point where it's like, if you want to elevate your game, you got to spend money. You got to spend money to make money, pay to play. So, like for me, it started to become a thing where I like shopping local. We have our local supplier here in town, Jeremy Detail Supply. Thanks for the shout out. Thanks for the sponsor. Always hooking it up. Joe Perez, great guy. And then we have Double Diamond Detail Supply up in Omaha. Thanks, Rick. He's always supplying a lot of our exterior products. Nice. So I try to find shops here locally so that I can, you know, throw some money back into the community that I'm at. A lot of people come to me, and so I have no issue going to the people that you know, come to me as well. But yeah, it's there's always new products coming out, new equipment, and the new techniques.
You ever been to SEMA and seen like some of the new stuff?
I have not. That's one of my goals. Hopefully this year, I want to see if I can make it happen. I've had the opportunity to go, but I just been reluctant and not really ready or prepared to go. So I want to be in a little bit better state professionally as business, and see if I can get out there, maybe even take a car, or do something big. So I know I'll get there eventually, but haven't got there yet. But yeah, definitely one of my goals is to get out there to see more.
I can kind of relate to what you're saying, like getting out of your routine, because I feel like the last 2 weeks, or last couple of weeks with New Year's, Christmas, and like on and then stuff in there, like you go to work half the week and then you're back and on a break, and then you get back to work, you just get thrown out, and then you like feel like you're 10 times slower.
Exactly.
Hate it, but
yeah, no. Some of the bigger car shows we go to in town, there's a lot of truck shows up in I-29, this big racetrack here in Nebraska-Iowa border.
Yep. We actually go there. With,
I know you guys go
there.
there. I know you guys go out there and rip some tires, bro.
Come out with us, bro.
I need to go.
we need a tent for ICC.
Heck yeah. No, I know. I've been to ICC. We take the trailer out there, but
for you guys that don't know what ICC is, it's Ice Cream Cruise. It's I-29, one of the biggest car shows probably in America, really. Honestly, but make sure you guys go check it out for this year. Come through September.
Somewhere
Sure.
in there.
Somewhere in there, September. So mark your calendars.
27 through 29.
27 through 29.
We'll post
Like you
we'll
said,
we'll post a link.
Post the link down below.
No, yeah, that's one of the big car shows. And then last year we started dabbling into doing our own car shows as well. We did a Halloween trunk or treat. We brought some cars in for that.
Where'd you guys do that?
Tacos Azteca here, local taco joint here in town. So super cool place. Maricela is a great friend of mine, a great client. So I love. There's places that I've been able to go and owners I've been able to meet with detailing that I probably wouldn't be able to do as a regular person. So that's one thing I really love about the business. You get to go in so many different places where you didn't even know, like a detail, washing a car, washing something can get you. And like, I don't know, it's really cool to see where we'll get into.
So you started out of your car.
Yeah.
You get to a point where like you were like, yo, when should I start considering getting a shop?
Yep.
When did you start considering like you need a shop?
Well, when the
like,
volume,
but
yep.
you got a lot of people coming through.
As soon as obviously, we started doing details for $40 out of my Honda Accord. I was living in an apartment downtown. I couldn't really get any cars done as much as I wanted to, and so I kind of just kept doing it on the weekend. But as soon as funny thing is, I went to school for architecture. I did 4 years of architecture. I loved it. I just don't do it anymore. I clean cars. That's what I tell people. I ain't no architect. I clean cars. But I was cleaning cars to get to college. On the weekend, on the weekdays, whenever I had a chance. And so as soon as I graduated, it was around the time of COVID. So I decided, why not just pay a little bit more attention to what I'm doing now, and then just kick it off. And that's when I decided to get a shop.
That's awesome.
And so I had a shop, and
so I said we're in your
yep.
shop right now.
Yep.
Is this your second shop, first shop? Or?
This is my second shop. So we did have a bigger location out in West Oak. We had it for about 2 years.
Yep.
But your boy's getting married, so I decided to buy a house instead. Yeah.
You get married?
March 22nd.
March 22nd, you guys heard it.
Shit,
March 22nd, come through, guys.
Bring some cars. No. I decided to kind of revisit where I want to be. Renting an apartment and renting a shop wasn't really a smart idea for me. So I bought a place, working out of here for now. And then we do a lot of mobile stuff in spring, summer, and fall. So the main part, like in the winter, you got to have a place to detail. So we detail cars here comfortably. We're able to bring in boats, semis. We can bring whatever we need. And it's my own place, so
it's a really good area.
Yeah,
a lot of space.
It's clean. I did the floors this year before we moved in, and then it's a nice place. It does me good, and it's mine. At the end of the day, start investing in yourself a little bit. So
exactly. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about being able to hold on to customers. Because at some point you rely on new customers, but at some point you rely on the OGs.
Yeah.
And kind of give us like that perspective.
I think a lot of it comes to do with your work speaks for itself. I don't really do a lot of ads online, or we have a website, but a lot of the clients that I have and repeat clients, they just like the work we do. As long as I'm a true believer in, as long as you do what you're supposed to be doing, people are going to come and find you. I have been blessed. I don't have to do a lot of promoting. we kind of just go ahead and just do the work we're supposed to be doing, and clients come to us. Obviously, social media has been a big part of it. Instagram is pretty big. TikTok is pretty big. And that's how you generate new clients. But it's, you do your friends and family, your friends and family's friends, and the friends of the friends and the friends, and you just keep going. A lot of things that's helped me too is traveling. Going to different states, going to the Ozarks, going to Lexington. That's where my fiance is. So I went out there for personal reasons too. But I'd haul the trailer and clean cars. It's gotta make a business trip out of it. Shit. But going to the Ozarks and meeting people that own boats, and now you're there for a couple of days. And so, yeah, I think for me it's just being honest and doing what we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And then owning up to whatever. Like, we've made mistakes. Obviously everybody does.
Everybody does, yeah.
There's two ways to go about it. You can hide it, or you can correct it and make it right. And that's what really I'm an honest guy. I don't like to screw people over. So
Okay, that's good.
it's one thing keeping the people coming in.
Especially just upfront honesty, because
Yeah.
I feel like we talked a little bit in the first episode just about how the car industry is harder to believe later in your experiences versus early, because you think everybody's all on the same page as you as far as car stuff. But I've heard this expression 10 different ways and 10 different numbers, but you do a good job and they tell one person, but you do a bad job, they tell 5 people. And so that's really hard to put in perspective when you're first starting out, because you need to hold on to who you can, and then especially in detailing, because I think that's hard sometimes. So
I think it really comes down to, like, when you're starting off something new, you also don't want to lie about what you're capable of doing. That's the biggest thing I see in younger detailers nowadays, and younger entrepreneurs too. Is sometimes you boast about what you can do and can't perform, and that's when you start to get into issues, because it's like, there's been times where I turn down cars. Hey, I'm not comfortable doing this, and I don't want to step into that project. Or hey, I'm just not capable because of my whatever it is, either my inexperience or I'm just too busy and I can't afford or can't pay attention to that. So a lot of times it just comes down to being honest. If you can't do it, don't be afraid to say no. We've turned down cars before. And it's okay. You can turn down projects and be like, hey, that's a little bit out of my realm. But a lot of people are afraid to say no, but you can't. You got to be able to know when to say no and know your capabilities. I think is the biggest one.
Yeah, I feel like once you get all those capabilities, you get to a point where all right, I'm gonna try to take the next step.
Yeah.
So I feel like once you take the next step, once you do a couple cars, it gets that next step of confidence. Then you can bring on more bigger jobs. I feel like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it just comes with experience. There's always gonna be something new when you're detailing. I know one time I had a client call me, a boat caught fire in a storage unit. You don't see that every day.
No.
But I've dealt with so many things that I thought I could handle it, and I did. We knocked it out in 2 days. The client was super happy with it. There's a good video on Instagram about it. It was just covered in soot, and you just gotta be honest. Hey, I've never done it, but I'm willing to try it. Let's go ahead and do a sample spot, try it out, and then figure out a price from there. But I've done a lot of crazy stuff. I'm willing to throw myself at it and at least try it. But once I know that it's not for me, I'm okay saying it.
talking about prices a little bit, how hard is it to quote or even get prices for jobs that maybe you think is in your range of what it actually costs to do it? Because it's not just some $5 chemicals and your time, and I think it's hard maybe in a lot of the worlds of, well, here's my price, but then the customer expects your price to be down here. So how does somebody like you, a small business, keep afloat if people aren't going to want your prices?
I think it just comes down to honesty and loyalty. My clients will pay what I ask for because of my work, and obviously we've been able to keep our costs pretty low, as low as I can. Obviously things are going up, everything's expensive, but I charge what's fair. Yeah. There is projects, and that's the hard part. You can get anything from a $45 wash to a $45 paint correction, or $4,500 paint correction. Easily. And it's just we're all over in between. It really just depends on what the client wants and where their budget is. Yeah. And that's what a lot of people, I think, money is something that people don't like to talk about. But I think it's very important. Even if you're doing mods to your cars or whatever, you got to know your budget. You got to know what you're comfortable spending, and just be honest with whoever's either tuning your car, modifying your car, it's like you got to be able to tell them, I got a so-and-so budget, let's not go past that, you know?
Exactly.
There's some people that are afraid, but the one thing I would tell people, hey, don't be afraid. Like, let us know where your budget is, and we can work something out. A lot of people don't get that, and that's where it becomes an issue when it's time to pay, because, hey, you know.
Right, and that's not really even negotiating. That's them saying this is what they're willing to pay.
Exactly.
And then you say, well, this is what my service is covering.
Those types of conversations have to be done at the beginning before I start my service. And I always quote people before I start any work. There's no surprise at the end. There's been a couple times where I forget, but most people understand what I'm going to charge. Yeah. But that's the one thing. America, tell us how much you want to spend. It's that easy.
All right, Eric. So tell the viewers, tell us a little bit, just about like, when was your knowing point that you were going to make it, doing just detailing out on your own? You know, because obviously you probably had a job between details and school, and so.
Yep. I think it was in college when I saw that I was able to take the simple car wash on the weekend and have people constantly calling like, hey, can you free up more time? Can you free up more time? I was like, I can fill up a week. And that's when I knew. I was like, you know what? Let's just try it. And you just never know. It's never a certain thing. You just have to risk it. Yeah. I didn't know what I was doing. You know, I was just fresh out of college or in college still, and I took the risk straight out of college. I didn't continue architecture. I think I did 2 weeks at my old job, and that's it. I got my first paycheck, didn't like it, and decided to clean cars. So I think you never know. Yeah. You just have to risk it. You can't be afraid to do it. A lot of people are too afraid, and you know, you just got to do it. And if it's gonna work out, it's gonna work out, and if not, keep trying something else. You know?
Yeah, I think this could be a little bit of a deep question, but was there any point in time you thought maybe things just weren't gonna pan out or keep going?
Plenty of times, man. Plenty of times. There's a lot of times where, you know, you just never know if you're gonna make it through, and it just comes down to what's going on around you, weather. You know, in the winter I slowed down a lot. My first year, I think my first year of detailing full time, I did have to get another job. You know, I started doing fencing on the side just to try to keep up, and then I did epoxy on the side during the winter,
like floors and stuff.
Yep. And so it's like, you gotta do what you gotta do. Yeah. But that's where, like, you know, I was down bad in the winter. We live in Nebraska and it snows. Now what I do is we do a lot of snow removal to try to keep everybody busy. You know, I'm able to switch trailers and go straight down my client list and do snow removal. Wow. So that helps me out. And then just through the experience, you know, I know winter's gonna be slow. We live in Nebraska. There's no way around it. And so I saved the money. When I was first starting, you know, I didn't know. I was just bringing it in. But, you know, we adjust. Everybody knows I do details in the summer, and then we switch to snow removal in the winter. That's how we can keep active around mobile stuff.
So in the winter, do you like cut off all detailing, or do you still?
No, we continue. Yeah. We're still open. Usually Monday through Friday. It just has to be.
Have to like schedule it more.
Yeah, it's more scheduled.
Time efficient.
It's less fast, or you know, slower. Things don't dry as fast, so they got to stay overnight. That's the biggest issue right now in this winter. Things got to stay overnight, and some people can do it, some people can't. So we just ask people to kind of schedule in advance. And usually spring, summer, we're able to knock out maybe 3 or 4 a day tops. In the fall, winter, it's 1 or 2 a day.
And that's full everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So but you know, summer hours 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Yeah. So we're able to knock out a lot with helpers too. So.
Do you ever have like people call you the same day and want a clean on the same day?
What do you mean?
Like when people call you like, yo, I want to detail today. Can you get me in? Do you get them in, or do you have to make them like? Wait.
It really just depends on what we're doing. Yeah. But you know, obviously there's some times where it's an emergency and we can't fit you in. Obviously it costs money. Yeah. You know, time is money, and if I'm free and I'm not doing anything that day, I might sneak you in. But if you call me on Saturday and I'm free and it needs to be done that day, I will charge a little extra. Sometimes I understand good clients, he always comes to me and he needs an emergency, I'll try to hook it up. But if it's a new time client and he really needs it done on my day off or after hours, we've done it before. We've gone to calls at like 11 p.m. You know, there was a single mom, she spilled a bunch of, or she left a pound of ground beef underneath the seat, and she needed the car the next day. It was a hefty bill, but we got it cleaned up. Yeah. But stuff like that where it's emergencies, and if you give me a sob story, I'm more than happy to do it. I'm very. It's kind of bad for business, but I get attached to my clients. You know, clients turn to friends, and they allow you to do what you're doing, and so I do try to take care of everybody as best I can. There's no guarantee though. If you call me same day, there's no guarantee.
Yeah.
It's really busy.
Are you a one-man crew, or what's your crew looking like?
Winter usually slows down to one guy. Yeah, just me. Spring, summer, fall, usually have two. But right now, winter, it's just tough to keep everybody kind of on payroll. So we just lost our last guy, and we're doing our own thing.
If you never need help, hit me up. Or try to
right
down the street. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Get you rolling.
Yeah.
Those
Those
are
buffers.
buffers, by the way.
Groups. Yeah, you
Clarify. But so we kind of touched base a little bit about products, you know,
Yep.
and obviously they're a consumable for your business, you know.
Yep.
On average, what do you think your monthly, let's say in the summertime,
Yeah.
what's your monthly products, you know, cost wise?
Cost wise, really just depends. It's honestly not that expensive as you think.
Yeah.
We can probably
Just
keep it
average.
under. We can probably keep it under $500 a month.
Yeah.
A lot of the products, and that's probably like 500 if we're doing polishes.
Yeah.
The most expensive thing is polishing and pads and compounds. That racks up pretty easy.
Especially if you're doing whole cars.
Yep.
100%.
Big boats tend to cost a lot,
Oh, yeah.
especially with pads.
Especially for like aluminum, you gotta
Yeah,
polish
yeah.
that up.
So polishing on a polishing project, you can easily spend $300 to $500 on just pads and product. That's not including the machines we have to buy, the cleaners, everything else.
And that's doing it the right way. That's not just trying to use it as long as you can, because that also causes other issues I know down the road if you're just going to try to be cheap.
Yep.
Like we talked about, you know. And, Rufus is a pretty big name in the buffing world. There's probably a couple others.
Yep. I think that's the main ones I use. And then Milwaukee has some cordless ones that are badass.
Dude, I tried the DA.
Yeah.
I need one. Like
I need
anything Milwaukee.
we love Milwaukee. That's all we use. I mean, the whole battery system they got. We got the fans, got the blowers, got the impact drills. It's all interchangeable and it works. But what I was gonna say about products is the way I'm able to save a lot of money is we buy a lot of 5-gallon products that are dilutable.
Yeah.
And that's from Joe at Nebraska Auto Detail and J&E Detail Supply. That's where you can save money. You have to be able to dilute your products, but you also got to know what you're doing. And that's the difference between a professional detailer and somebody who's doing it at home for personal use. Because you would go and buy 16 ounces and then just use it on your personal car. I can't do that.
Especially like that model's like $8.99.
Yeah.
And then you can get a 5-gallon for maybe $20, maybe or something.
I mean, they 5 gallons are probably like 50 to 100. It really just depends on what it is and how much it is, but it's super dilutable. But yeah, just knowing dilution ratios helps you out a lot.
And most of the time, you can dilute whatever you get from the stores too, but
Yep.
people don't know that, you know. So they just, because nobody wants to go buy the extra bottle now and then try to figure out what the dilute ratio is.
Yeah. Material is not that expensive. It's really not.
Yeah.
You just can't be afraid to spend it either.
What was one of your most hardest cleans?
One of my hardest details. Man.
Or one of them. One of them.
One of my hardest details, honestly, when I first, I don't know, anything mobile.
Yeah.
There was actually, here we go. One time, it was me and my helper. We got a call to go out, clear out like an hour north of here in a farm to clean some tractors. And I mean some dirty tractors. And it was bad. We spent 3 days out there. I left my trailer at the farm and we would drive home. We were doing like 12-hour days to try to get some of these. It was a total of 6 trucks, a combination of trucks and vans, and then 3 tractors. And it was a big project. Super dirty tractors. I love them, but they were really dirty. And the biggest issue, it was a horse farm, and they had horse flies.
Oh.
And kid you not, it was like 100 degrees that week. I was working without a shirt the whole week. And these horse flies are just biting you, and there's no way around it. One of the hardest details I've ever done, but fun project. I learned a lot. I even took out a little grill on the back of the truck, and we were just grilling all week. Yeah, it's fun. I mean, and that's what I like about, we're able to go out, leave the trailer there. They trust us with everything they got there, and we're able to just go work and get our job done. But we can adjust. There's a lot of fun stuff we can do.
So mobile detail you talk about, like, is that you carry all the water,
Yep.
generator, all that stuff too.
Mobile detailing, we carry everything in the trailer that we need to get the job done. We can do up to 3 cars without having to refill on water or gas. So yeah, you start to, when you're mobile, you really got to worry about how much water you're using, and you can really stretch it out if you have to. And it comes with using the right power washer to water tank ratio. You got to have a lot of pressure. It means less water. It's more pressurized, so it gets the job done faster.
And to the experience too, because I mean,
Yep.
There's things that I didn't know either, but that was probably wasn't one of the first things you knew when you got into it either.
Yeah, no, I mean, and that's one of the big things too. We started with actually my first power washer was given to me by my uncle. I didn't have money to buy a power washer, and it was not a cheapo one, but it was like a $80 little electric rail.
That's actually not
I
bad.
mean, they're not bad. They're not bad to start. I used it, and
Around the house,
yeah,
they get
that's
the
the
job
whole
done.
thing. Fernando, if you're watching this, I owe you a power washer. But I think I took it, and eventually it broke. But he gets free details now, so that's cool.
Yeah,
So he gets
Good trade, good
he
trade.
gets the hookup. But yeah, you go from that to now we got hot seat power washers. So,
How does a hot seat power washer work?
hot seat power washers is probably I'd say one of the best brands out there for power washers. Just because of the parts, they're heavy duty and they're made for commercial use.
They're like hot water soakers?
They're
Or?
hot water.
Oh,
Yeah.
How hot does it get?
Not that hot actually. I can't coach on that. Maybe I don't know. Not boiling point, but
Well,
you
like
get the job done.
Hotter than 50 degrees?
Yeah, like 150, 160.
That's hot, bro. What you mean?
I don't know how much it is.
It doesn't
They're diesel.
burn your hand off.
Yeah. You gotta be careful with them, but they have less pressure, so they're badass.
It's like, you ever seen those little dry ice little blower things?
Yeah.
Those are kind of interesting, bro. I don't know. Like,
Um,
I've always seen that around, but
yeah.
it'd be cool to try one out,
and that's where I had somebody call me if I had a dry ice
Little blaster thing.
cleaning machine. It was for a Ferrari.
Might need to get one.
Well, yeah, the guy knew his stuff. He had a badass Ferrari, and that's when I was able to say no. I was like, to be honest, that's not part of what we do on the regular, so I'm gonna say no. I don't have one. It's not something I'll come for. It's an old classic Ferrari. I ain't gonna try to mess it up. And so I talked to him. I was like, hey, I don't have that. We just run steam, and I don't know if anybody in town has that. But he kind of had a special request. Can you do a dry ice? And I was like, no, I don't have it. So unfortunately, I lost that job. But
That's all good.
maybe next year I'll buy one.
You
I don't even know how much they cost.
ever been like scrolling through like social media or something, and you see like in a different country, these guys got like this car up on a lift, and they're just like
Bro, they're just
scrambling
driving
like
like
crazy.
crazy.
I'm like, what are they doing? I'm like, there's no way they turned back to what it turned into. Like they had to have just sprayed over it or something.
I don't know how to do it. I don't know if they do it just for social media or if they actually cream like that. But I've seen a lot of cars get damaged like that. So
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw them use the same brush on the wheels as they did the body.
yeah. No, yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. We power wash the door jamb sometimes, but that's about as far as you can go. You can't.
Yeah.
And if we're power washing interiors, we're taking everything out. There's some cars where we have to rip the carpets out, rip the seats out, and we power wash it if it's nice outside, and then let them dry outside.
Yeah.
But that's a 2-3 day project. You gotta take that in, make sure it dries before you put it back in.
Yeah.
Last thing you want is
hefty bill for
yeah.
that too.
Bring your paycheck, bring your checkbook.
Bring your checkbook or stay home.
Honestly, I'll do anything. Just bring your checkbook and we'll get it done.
Don't be scared to ask about the price.
Don't
either,
get scared.
He said anything, didn't he?
Shit. If it has wheels, I'll detail it. If it doesn't have wheels, I'll go to it. So we'll get it done. I think one of the craziest things I've ever detailed, I detailed anything from a power wheelchair, electric wheelchair. I detailed that up to probably just planes and big boats and those are.
How'd you get one of those?
Farmer. It was a neighbor of a friend. It was a neighbor of my uncle actually. He's a farmer, and he had a bushwhacker plane out in Missouri, Rockport, Missouri. So a lot of fireworks. But he trusted me. He was like, "Hey, you want to come out and do that?" I was like, "Sure."
That'd be so
I was
sick.
able to do those, and then we got a free ride after. So it was dope. I almost puked. That shit was pretty crazy. But no, it's because that plane, it's like we got a lot of crop dusters in Nebraska, so it was kind of like a crop duster. And he can land anywhere. He can land in the field. And I was scared. I was like, why are you not landing on the track?
He
But
said, "Oh."
he was like, check this out. He landed in the grass, and I was like, what are you doing? And then took off from the grass. Those are cool planes. But yeah, those are fun. And then, you know, $500,000 boats in the Ozarks. There's some big ballers out there.
I've never been out there.
I had a really good client. He invited me to go out there to the Ozarks and stayed for like 4 days. I made a tour out of that, a detailed tour, because I went out there and then we went to Tulsa, went to Kansas City, and then we detailed cars all over. So it was fun.
So not a lot of people know that I paint cars for a living, but to kind of go off of what you're saying about, you know, from biggest to small, or smallest to biggest, you know, kind of like that cool atmosphere type of thing. You know, for me, it's like I want to paint these really cool cars too. You know, I paint a lot of the daily drivers, but like one day I want to paint a Porsche, whether it's mine or not. And there's actually a paint gun that was designed by Porsche. They did like some of the designing for it through Sada, which is another paint gun company.
It's a good brand, huh?
Yeah, so it's a Sada 5500 phaser. So I have the normal 5500, but the phaser is like black. It's got like a different design on the handle. It's the same internally gun basically, but I would love to be able to buy that gun, and it's like $500 more. But whatever, you know, if you have a Porsche at this point, it's money, you know. So, but I would love to paint my Porsche or a Porsche with the phaser, because Porsche, you know, it's kind of cool. But like you think about that stuff too, of like, you know, you said you got to call an old Ferrari, airplanes, boats. I mean, that's crazy, you know. Just thinking of like, you really have no limits.
Yeah.
Like, you know, who knows? Maybe one day you'd be able to like do a jet, or you know, something like that. You know, or even somebody's like private collection of like multi-million-dollar cars. You know,
that's one of my big goals. I want to get into some high-end stuff.
Yeah.
There's obviously a lot of high-end clients in Lincoln, but I feel like a lot of times they're closed off to what they know and who they trust. It's very hard to get into a client base like that. But we've been blessed with some of the higher end clients. Porsche is a big one. There's a lot of Porsches in town. Lambos. I got to do a Lambo last year. That shit was dope.
Nice. I remember on your story you had that white one, remember?
Yep, that was
that was a sick one.
We did. There's a lot of what's it called McLarens in town. So McLaren, Porsche, Ferrari. Not Ferrari. I haven't done a Ferrari, but Lambos. Yeah, those are pretty cool. Yeah.
Is it like not harder, but is it different to clean the higher end stuff that has like maybe different materials or different, you know?
It is a lot harder, and you just gotta be more careful with it. Obviously, like for a Chevy, Toyota, Honda, it's very generic materials. You can use the same products and everything, and parts are interchangeable. Like you can get parts readily available. Once you start getting to the higher end vehicles, an Audi little, you know, dashboard button might run you $500, and it's $2 for a Toyota. You know, and that's the biggest thing. Where like, we've had mistakes where, you know, one time one of the guys accidentally broke a visor. You know, put the seat too far forward, hit the visor, cracked it. You know, that was like a $60 fix for Honda. You know, it might be like a $300-400 fix on an Audi. So you just gotta be more careful and more mindful. There's a lot more higher end material in those higher end cars. The suedes, the leathers, all that. Alcantara, what's it called? Alcantara.
Yeah, Alcantara. Yeah. So when you were starting off, whatever, you get like working, and then you get to your first like big job. Okay, say like your first big boat. Like, what's the feeling inside? What kind of feeling do you get inside?
Nerves, man. You get nervous, and that's one thing I've had to learn now is when you send a bill for somebody that's over. My first one was like, you know, maybe $300-400. You know, I was nervous. I was like, are they really gonna pay that money? And they do. They do because of the work. And that's where a lot of times people nowadays, I'm not saying rack up your prices, but know your worth. You know, there's some times where, dude, I'm more than willing to pay for what you're worth. You know, and people have that issue where it's like you underestimate your value, and that's a big one.
That's crazy.
I'm not saying you should be starting off charging $300. You know, you got to work your way up there. But once you get to know what you got to do and you have to get the experience, it's worth money. So
especially when you were talking about like that job that had to stay here for 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
I mean, from a business standpoint, you couldn't expect that to be low numbers because it's in your, not in your way, but it's in your slot. That should be making you money in that slot,
And that's where, like, say it's a $400 detail over 4 days, it's only making $100 a day. So whether it sits here and just dries, it's still in your way. And like you said, you can't bring in more cars.
And eventually, we outgrow the space we're in very quickly.
Yep.
And, whether it's a 2-stall garage or some big shop, eventually it's going to get filled up or there's going to be stuff in that that's going to be in the way. Or, upgrading from that little pressure washer to the hot seat, I'm sure that thing's way bigger than, a little cart one. But,
Do you remember your first big job with them?
Honestly, I don't. I don't remember what the first big job was. I remember the first car I ever detailed for money. It wasn't even her. It was a lady. It wasn't even her car. It was her boyfriend's car. And she still talks to me today, and she always complains. She said, "I can't believe I paid for a detail that wasn't even my car." So that was her ex-boyfriend's. Yeah. Well, it kind of sucks, Like, treat yourself, buy yourself a little detail,
Yeah. If you were to give one piece of advice for some of the new detailers out there, what would be like maybe even like a 5-point or 3-point or 1 point that you'd make?
I think it'd be, and it's funny you say that because it's going off traffic, but we've had a lot of younger detailers come and ask us for advice.
Yeah.
Probably like 3 or 4 detailers in town that always DM us, come to us, work with us. Great friend of mine came in and worked for me for about a year and a half, and now he does it on his own. And so it's like, as long as you're willing to listen and learn, you're going to be successful. But you got to also know, it comes down to your experience. A lot of these younger detailers want to come in and charge what I charge. You can't. You can't, because you're going to ruin the industry of, like, you can't charge what I can because you can't perform at that level. Right. And so that's one thing I'd say is, like, don't try to oversell yourself when you don't have the experience. You gotta embrace the hustle, embrace the struggle. I did it. Everybody else that's with me did it. And we all do it. You didn't start buying $800 parts for your Honda when you first started.
Exactly.
Might even been the Amazon brand. eBay. Used. And that's where, like, it kind of starts like that. We struggle,
Yeah. In our first episode, we were talking about like how we even started off with like stock motors, and saying making like 350, whatever, 300, 350, whatever it was.
Exactly.
We still had so much fun with that.
Exactly.
And then over time, obviously, you get used to that. You get like a little bored of it.
Yeah.
You want to throw some more at it, Until some stuff breaks, and you're like, time for some more.
And it just takes time,
Exactly.
You start seeing what other people have that has a Honda, or other people, if they have your car, like, hey, I want to get to that level. Yeah. It's not something you can't get to. You just got to work your way up.
I kind of want to add into the point that Eric was saying about the younger people coming up. Like, we're still kind of the younger people, maybe you say, but ask questions. Yeah. Don't sit there and like keep your hands behind your back.
Yeah.
Like, don't be afraid to ask questions, because there's people that are willing to help you.
Yeah.
But you have to be coachable, and you have to take what they say as true. Most of the time, obviously try your own tricks every now and then, but understand that if somebody's got 5 years of experience and they're successful, I want to start listening to some
Pay
stuff.
attention. That's one of my biggest pet peeves. A lot of times people come in here trying to learn, or there's some kids that are younger than me, and how do you have 10 years experience? That doesn't add up. It's okay to say you got 2 years experience.
Yeah.
I probably have close to 6 years experience, but I didn't start full-time paying taxes till after the first 2 years, after returning from a weekend job to a full-time job.
Yeah.
It's all, you don't have to lie about the experience you have, and just be, like you said, coachable. That's the biggest one. A lot of times these kids already know how to do it. Then why are you here? Why are you coming to ask me questions? It's like you gotta be open-minded, and there's a lot of times where even my peers, I go and talk to them, and maybe I've done it a different way, and I like it the way I do it.
Yeah.
Just do
perfectly
it.
fine.
Just keep your mouth shut and go home and do it how you're gonna do it. Don't disrespect your mentors. Yeah. It's really disrespectful to me. Like, one of my biggest pet peeves. So you come in here asking for help, and you already know what you're doing.
Like, well, I did it like this last week, and I was like,
why are you here?
yeah,
You know?
no point. You're really this wasting your time
It
and
is.
money.
It is.
You know? So
It is.
yeah, that's pretty hard.
Yeah.
Just trying to understand like people. You know?
Yeah. But yeah, you just can't be afraid. When I first started detailing, I skipped that part out. When I first started polishing, I went to shops in Grand Island. There was a good buddy of mine, Luis, with Luigi Supreme Detail. I don't think he's in business anymore, but he was a good friend of mine, and he was doing polishing. I didn't know how, so I threw myself at him. I was like, "Hey, bro, let me learn how to polish. I'll come work for 2 days."
Yeah.
And I did. I worked for free for 2 days. We polished the Challenger. That was my first polish with the roofs and everything like that. Because before I was doing it I'd go to the junkyard and pick up hoods and scratch them and try to detail with Harbor Freight polishers. It didn't work. I remember one time I got made fun of because I went to a shop and tried to polish with the Harbor Freight detail or Harbor Freight, and it was making so much noise. And the guy was like, "That's a cheap polisher." I was like, "Damn, you're right." You know, like he knew. You just know from the sound of it.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I asked people all around me, and part of the mobile stuff, you know, I went to hour and a half away, you know, 2 hours away to learn.
Yeah.
But those guys, I give the credit to them because he taught me how. He didn't have to, but I offered that, threw myself at him. It was like, "Hey, let me go out there and work for 2 days." When sometimes you gotta do that.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
fun.
Like, for example, like my cousin, well, I do construction, I trim houses, whatever. And my cousin wanted to start his own thing, you know, like starting his own trim. We're like, cool, you know, no problem, but you should come here, learn a lot of stuff with us first, and then go ahead first, you know. Which he did. He came for like 2 weeks, but he didn't learn everything, which is okay, you know. Obviously, you can learn a bunch of stuff on your own still, but he learned all like the basics through us, you know.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, I'm sure obviously helped him out a lot, but you know what I'm saying, like he came for free too, you know. We didn't hit it. He came like, "Yo, let me come help you guys. I just want to learn some stuff." You know? He was like, "Yo, let me come work and get paid." You know, like obviously, you know, some people are like that, obviously, but you know, you gotta build your way up, like you were saying.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's what a lot of times guys are afraid of now, and girls too. I really can't sit here.
Yeah.
Guys and girls are afraid of, "Oh, I don't want to go work for free for a day." Well, why not? You know, you're gonna waste 1 day of whatever you're doing, sitting at home doing nothing, to go learn something. It's valuable. You're learning
Exactly.
from
Like
somebody.
that one free day is gonna help you in that. Who knows what in the future? You know what I'm saying?
And honestly, so I learned in Grand Island how to polish, and then I met 2 other detailers out there with Floyd and then Luigi's, and then that's how I met the guy that does all my graphics, Adrian. You know, I met guys in Grand Island. They're cool guys.
Yeah.
And from there, you know, you build relationships. Now the guy does all the graphics for me, and the other guy, he does detailing, I think, but you know, it's fun.
There's a lot of, you know, like you were saying, people don't want to come work for free, but then there's also like classes you can pay to take for detailing, for polishing, for PPF, for tint. You know, it's just like brands are willing to reach out to people and be like, "Hey, we offer a class.
Yeah.
You don't want to go out and, you know, learn from somebody else, but you know, both are good ways to do it."
Yeah, I've never taken a class. I'm a believer in going and asking somebody who's doing it, like in the industry. I'm a cheap ass. I might be cheap. I'm not trying to pay thousands of dollars.
We all are, bro.
But for me, I'd rather go ask a buddy or somebody, and you know. And so what happened there? I think I paid his lunch too. I didn't even care. You know, this homie's teaching me stuff that I need to learn, and I got myself a hotel. You can't expect him to give you a place to stay. And so it's like offer to pay, offer to make his life better.
And Grand Island's probably about an hour and a half, hour 45.
Yeah. I could have came home
From Lincoln, but
I did nothing for Eric.
hotel parties, Grand Island. No, but you know,
Where's my invite?
where's my invite? Got that people playlist in the hotel. I don't know. I've always been like the type of guy I'd rather go spend a day with somebody because one, you're helping them. Who doesn't want a free helper?
Exactly. I'm sure they're grateful for
As long as you're good at it. You also can't go and be on your phone the whole time. There's a lot of times guys come in here and they're fumbling, they're on the phone, and say, "Bro, come on, you're just wasting my time now too."
Well, like, you know, another thing, like you were saying, like you say you hire some new guys. I'm saying in general speaking. You hire some new guy, they work their ass off, you know, for like first month or so, and you can see that they start slacking off a little.
he's comfortable.
Exactly. Like, dude, you can't get comfortable so easily, you know what I'm saying? And you end up where you don't want to be. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's like, bro, just stay hungry. You know,
Exactly.
stay hungry, players.
You gotta stay hungry, players. That's
That's
why I always say that. You know, and it's like you can't look at where somebody's at, and even for me, I can't look at the guys that have 12 people on payroll, a big ass shop, and expect me like, okay, I wish I was there. You just wish for it. You know, that guy obviously did something right, and you have to be able to work towards what he's doing. You can look up to him, but don't be jealous of him. You know, you'll get there one day, and just know that guy probably took 10 years doing that.
Exactly.
You know.
For example, like my brother. I work for my brother for Trembling House.
Yeah.
He's been doing this for like 12, 13 years or something, you know, or something, even more. I don't even know. But like, you know, one day I want to feel like that too. You know what I'm saying? But like right now, I'm happy with where I'm at. You know, with what I'm doing, learning all this new stuff still. You know, to this day, even though I've been doing it for like 6-7 years too.
Yeah.
But it's crazy, you know.
Just like every car is different, every household is going to be different too. So
Yeah.
It's all different in this game.
It is.
Yeah.
But I think it's just, you know, got to be willing to put in the work.
yeah.
Gotta stay hungry,
You
players.
got to stay hungry, players.
Shout out my boy Tyrese. We all
We hungry. That's all it
Pockets ain't empty. Good.
is.
Now he kind of knows, you know.
He stopped by. Bring the car over sometime. Well, when it's nice here. When it's like 50 degrees.
Come polish that shit up.
Stop by. Nice is always okay.
I got my shit's next up.
All right, Eric. Gonna wrap things up a little bit
Let's
here.
do it.
Obviously, we're fresh into 2025.
Yep.
Last week, we kind of talked a little bit about our goals for our cars this year. From a business standpoint, what's your goals in 2025 for QuickECleans?
QuickECleans.
Say like your top three.
Top three. Got to make money.
Yeah.
Make money, obviously. We want to continue to grow the business here in Lincoln. We got a couple big things going with the mobile setup. We're either going to go Ford Transit style, or we're going to do a bigger trailer. But it really just depends. We're still in the works. It's winter. This is the time that we kind of, maintenance stuff and then buy new things. So I don't know what route I'm going to go yet. I'm really leaning towards Ford Transit, but it might be a little foreshadowing. But we'll see. If there's money, we're going to buy a Ford Transit. But if not, we'll stick with the trailer setup for another year.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, it's nice. It's just it's a big setup. We can't. Sometimes we're limited to where we can go, especially downtown Lincoln, downtown Omaha. We can't really pull up there, so we'll see where that goes. And then, obviously on a personal standpoint, we're getting married in March, so I am. Thank you. We're taking a step, not a step back, but obviously I want to focus on getting married. I'll get married, and after I get married, bring her over and then really start pumping out work.
Living your life, bro.
Yeah, so obviously that's been a big thing for me is I want to get married and we got a house and a lot of expenses going there. But in terms of the business standpoint, either going to upgrade trailers or move into a Ford Transit and then just do a lot more mobile detailing. I want to see if I can go back further down south to Texas. Yeah. There's a lot of big Texas Speedway. Is the Motor Speedway? Big shows out there. I want to see if I can get out there. Texas or Colorado. It would be a big goal if I would to have one. See if I can go out to a car show. And then just Western Nebraska. There's a lot of places to go out there. So
that's awesome. Is there any events you want the viewers or anybody to know about just coming up this year for the car season that you'll be a part of?
They're not any off the top of my head. It's kind of too soon for car shows. Stay tuned as we continue the podcast. As you guys continue, or just follow me on QuickECleans on Instagram. We'll be posting. You can find us on Instagram.
Have some down there.
That's where we'll post more of the events. I haven't decided which ones I'm going to, so I don't want to free promote. That's just how it is. But we're gonna try to go to a lot of local shows here in town, and maybe even start to do our own. So I don't know which route I'm going for this year, but
that's awesome.
Yeah, stay tuned. Follow us on Instagram for more updates.
Yeah, and just want to say thanks again for having us in the
Thank
shop.
You, thank you guys for stopping by.
I
had to clean the shop for you guys. Hopefully it was too cool. I
got
a little cool.
Really good.
I
know it's all good.
Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks a lot again, man.
So part of the
rolling down.
Part of the pizza. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it, man.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
I don't know.